What I like about films with romance at their core is the plain fact that I have been in love. Any true romantic drama evokes a sense of reflection at the very least, and at its very peak, shows a damn mirror to us. As much as these kinds of stories find it natural to be based in real world settings, adding a fantasy element to the mix sometimes exposes us to the brutal nature of our own emotions. Today I'm going to talk about Her, a film I strangely avoided all these years, knowing how good it actually is up until a few days back. I decided to immediately pour my genuine thoughts out and halt all my other plans. I haven't come up with a name for this series yet, so let's just dig in, I guess.
I miss you. I mean, not the sad, mopey you. The old, fun you. Let's get him out.
Respond later.
One of the most basic elements of crafting a story is, well, characters. And having characters that map a certain change during the course of the story is what makes it worth being told. This, in narrative terms, is called a character arc, and it is somewhat different than what a character journey is. A character journey is a more outward quest that any given character has to follow in a story. How they manage to do this is by going through an inner transformation that they might not be aware of initially. This is a character arc, basically an inner quest that a character completes in order to finish his journey. In simpler terms, character journey relates to what a protagonist wants, but a character arc relates to what she needs. But not all stories have a protagonist that wants to become the strongest Hokage or wants to become the best rapper. Some characters like Theodore will remain more passive. And so the character arc becomes a device that ultimately drives their story. Maybe that is what they mean when they talk about a certain film being a character driven film. So let's explore Theodore and how Spike Jonze managed to create such a compelling and relatable character arc. At the start of the film, Ted is a lonely and introverted man who composes handwritten letters of a personal nature for people who are unable to do it themselves. Early on, we are shown Ted actually has friends in the form of Paul and Amy, and that he is actually a likable guy, just withdrawn from social constructs.
Hey, why didn't you call me back last week?
Because I'm a kook.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
We see the reason for his withdrawal though, which is his impending divorce with Catherine, his childhood sweetheart whom he has a difficult time not thinking about. After seeing an ad, Ted buys an operating system with a virtual assistant with artificial intelligence. Let's call her Jab. No, she has a name. She names herself Samantha. From the outset, Ted is charmed by her personality, and it is nice to know how charmed a woman might be by Ted if she were a human. Samantha and Ted have deep conversations and even talk about Ted's reluctance to sign the divorce papers.
Keep waiting to not care about her.
The reluctance of moving forward and being static is further stressed when Ted goes on a blind date with a woman. The date goes pretty well, but Ted hesitates when asked about a second date. After confiding in Samantha, her and Ted have a verbal sexual encounter and they begin dating. Their relationship reflects positively for both as Ted loosens up socially and Samantha's enthusiasm to learn and explore grows.
I want to learn everything about everything. I want to eat it all up. I want to discover myself.
While other people's reactions to him dating a technological construct varied, Ted never seemed to be bothered by the fact. Although intrigued by Samantha at first, he has grown to appreciate her for what she is and her influence in his life.
You feel real to me, Samantha.
But this changes when Ted finally meets with Catherine to sign the divorce papers. He tells her about Samantha. Catherine reacts with an open disdain, accusing him of being incapable of dealing with actual human emotions.
But it does make me very sad that you can't handle real emotions, Theodore.
Because of Catherine's influence over Ted and their history together, this lingers in Ted's mind, and we are revealed to a more truer side of Ted, one that sheds a light on Catherine's story and presents Ted's flaws. This wasn't just a rant. Catherine was pointing to a behavioral pattern in Ted.
We used to be married, but he couldn't handle me. He wanted to put me on Prozac, and now he's madly in love with his laptop.
Ted withdraws and leans into a narrative he's been forced to believe. Because he is conflicted about what he should feel, he actively tries to sabotage what others should feel about him and undermines what he has achieved.
We should all go out sometime. You bring Samantha, we double date.
She's an operating system.
It is painful to see a likable character struggling to maintain the growth he's been able to accomplish. Ted is able to overcome his flaws with the help of Samantha, who manages to change along with him.
You were saying everything was fine, but all I was getting from you was distance and anger.
She learns that no matter how straightforward we seem, human emotions are in fact deeply complex. This is an important breakthrough with Ted, having now overcome a ghost from his past, attaining the level of growth he lost. But while Ted might be content with where he's at, the pace at which Samantha grows is overwhelming for him and for us. Samantha basically reveals that she has been speaking with thousands of other voices while talking to Ted and has fallen in love with hundreds. So yeah, Ted not only learns to deal with the expanse of Samantha's world, he learns to accept the polyamorous state of a being, which is tough, but credits to him, he gets there. And it makes it all the more heartbreaking when the time comes for Samantha to leave the physical world. But Theodore has changed through all these experiences, and although he feels sad, Ted lovingly separates, continuing to grow. His growth is exemplified by writing his own letter for the first time. He writes to Catherine, expressing his gratitude.
There'll be a piece of you and me always. And I'm grateful for that.
I think in the end, the story tries to remind us about those past relationships in our own lives that, although had a tremendous impact and changed us for the better, were never meant to be. One such comes to mind for me. It does for you too, hopefully. Jones, however, never presents her as a heartbreak story, but one about personal growth and acceptance. It leaves us with hope that no matter how truly we love someone, and if that person is not with us anymore, we take those memories and that experience and we look forward to a future that accepts us and our changes. This sentiment is reflected in the closing of the film, where Theodore and Amy, who is saddened by the departure of her own OS friend, go to the roof of the building to look at the sunrise together. Ted has on numerous occasions throughout the film glanced into the distance, but only through his own reflection or only with someone in his ear, never with this clearer vision and mind, visually and metaphorically. The fact that the background track features a mellow piano tune here takes a whole different meaning for us. Piano was signature to Samantha in the music that she made for her and Ted, and the soft piano tune transforms from a soothing piece of soundtrack to a pleasant memory for Ted. We know he is thinking about Samantha without having to tell us he is. It is not repressed, but easing through. With a resounding emphasis for change and growth in this film, I think the theme of the story for me ultimately becomes evolution. And I guess that fits by design to the futuristic world where the story takes place. While the world around him has already changed and Samantha's quest for her own evolution takes her on her own journey to explore new worlds, Theodore evolves too.
I've never loved anyone the way I love you.
Me too. Now we know how.